Hello everyone, this is my instructional video on how to use Pollar, the photo editing software that I've chosen in my TPP ICT 102 course. Now, as it should be said, there are some features that I'm going to gloss over in this video because this is purely just to get a basic understanding of some of the basic and most popular features that can be used with the photo editing app. Now, as I'm booting up the Pollar software, this is the first starting screen, and then it opens up into this. I'll click Open Sample Photo, and once it loads up, it loads up a photo of a girl walking down a long pathway. Now, this is the sample photo. I'm now going to click on Filters, and I'm going to show you a range of different filters. Now you're probably wondering what this bar does. Well, as I pull it down, you can see that the filter tends to disappear and it'll show the original image in full color without the filter. I like this filter, so I'm going to keep that all the way up. Next is the text tool, where you can add text. As you can see, I'm going to write the phrase, "I like cheese," on the image. Then I'm just going to click the blue check mark to say this is what I want. As you can see, I can also move the text around, and I can also change the color of the text. I want to make it a nice blue to fit in with the background. As you can see, I'm moving it around some more just to show you some other things. With shadow, you can blur the image, or the shadow of the text on the image, but I don't want to use that, so I'm just going to press remove. Next, you can do the outline and you can change the size. Too big and it's too bulky and you can't read the words, so I'm just going to remove that as well. Next, you can change the size of the text, the opaquency of the text, and the blend of the text. Having on high opaquency and high blend means the image is almost impossible to see with the original image. Next, you can go to Retouch and go to Liquify. As you can see, the grids are already on the screen, but when you first open it, they'll not be there. And the way you put them on is by clicking the little eye icon in the bottom right. Next, I'm going to choose Pinch, and I'm going to make the strength a high 70, and I'm going to bring the size down. Now, as you can see, as I'm clicking on where I want to pinch, the squares become smaller around the inside. There's the image without the squares. I'm just going to reset that, and I'm going to hop out of Liquify and go on to Crop. As you can expect, crop means you can crop the size of the image to whatever size you feel like. You can also flip the image, but as you can see that the text does not rotate with the image. It stays exactly where you put it in the exact same way. I'm just going to leave that there. Next, we're going to go over to adjustments, and as you can see, you can play with the color, with the temp, the tint, the vibrance, and the saturation of the image. I decided this image was looking rather green, so I decided to bring the tint down more towards the purple end of the scale. Next, you can play with the hazing of the light, which will turn the image more orange. You can also turn the exposure up or down to lighten or darken the image. The brightness also brightens certain areas of the image, or in turn you could darken them. Highlights means you can highlight certain areas of your image and it'll brighten or darken. Blacks also means that you can darken the shadowy areas of the image. You can also clarify and sharpen your image. But I don't like the way this looks, so I'm going to bring the clarity down and also the sharpness. Next, you can play with the color and luminance. Next, you can add a ring of light or a ring of darkness around your image. Or, in turn, you can make it an oval shape if you would much prefer. You can also decide if you want it light or dark. You can also control the size and center the circle where you want it to be placed. I'm going to put it on the girl as she is the center of this image. But as you can see, I move it up and you can faintly still see the words "I like cheese" written in the sky. You can also play with the feather, which sharpens or lightens out the circle. Now, as you can see, I made a mistake by not clicking the blue check mark after pressing center. But I just continued on playing with the border width. And as you can see, you can zoom, blur the image, and rotation blur your image. Now when I press reset, I reset the circle because I did not click the check mark before when I pressed it. So I'm going to manually turn down the zoom and rotation blur. And then I finally realized my mistake and clicked the blue check mark. Now grain makes your image more grainy and gives it a more textury vibe, as if it was printed on a piece of cardboard or something like sandpaper. This is good for if you want a more old photo vibe. That's the end of the adjustments. Special adjustments is for Pollar Premium. That's your history tab. And undo undoes the first section of your history tab. Next, I'm going to go to save, and I'm going to save this image as a PNG. And then I'm going to rename it to default edited. And then I'm just going to save a copy of the image. As you can see, it's saving the photo, and it's now saved. And this was how to use Pollar, the photo editing app. And I hope this will help you in future studies. Thank you.